I just want to show you that the system is not too busy. We should be able to do this recording. I'm waiting on this. I want to use this program to make another addition to that. Those demos, all of these are demos. Now, what this is doing is taking what came out of AutoGuardian Not, which was letterbox. I could open this, but you see the size. That'll definitely probably throw the audio out of sync. Well, anyway, I can show you. It's okay. I think I have read access to it. Shouldn't interrupt this. Yeah, I can just for a second just show you. Now, you see, in full screen it's letterbox. This is full screen, right? Now, so that means that all it's done is it's just extracted the image and didn't do the correct thing, which is to pull out just this part. So what this thing is doing is that thing of pulling out, just using the cropping without resizing or anything. And I added one filter, just a de-interlace, so that I'm going to have to do that again. I think this is a good point to do it, to do the de-interlacing, because it doesn't add much time to this conversion. I need to put that in at some point. Better to do it when it's big. Now, let's see. Well, I don't know. Actually, we'll see what the result is. Anyway, I'll come back to this and I'll show you. Well, actually, I can show you sort of. Now, this is set up to drop both images. Let me pause this for a minute. Okay, you see? This is the output clipped. This isn't really the input. So, when that's done, I'll continue this. Okay, it's done. And the last bit is converted in here. I guess I can use this opportunity to give you a little lesson in VirtualDub. But first, I'm just going to show you. This is not at 100%. That's why you can't. It's hard. It doesn't fit on my screen. Both images really. But you get the idea. I just want to get rid of these bands. Now, the actual size of this image would have changed, but if there was no resizing operation, I mean, there is a resize in this list. The way this thing works is for each frame, a video is made up of frames, right? And for each frame, it's going to run through the various operations that you defined here. This operation doesn't do anything. You can put this in order to use this feature for the cropping. And then all you do is I may not have needed this, but I think you do. Darn it. Oh, I need to double click. Hang on. Wait, maybe there's maybe this. No. Hang on. I can't get in there without a double click. So yeah, you see there is no real resizing that's going on, because after cropping it, right, there's no change here, so I probably didn't need this at all, but I put it in anyway just in case. Now this is the default for this, and I've been finding that I've been choosing this last one here that I don't know the difference. But I'm getting much nicer resizing with this algorithm. These represent various, well, all of these represent one algorithm with, I guess, 3 different parameters, and this is a different algorithm, and I don't know why. I wonder if I should click this. I don't want to save all that as default, but I'd like to keep that. Alright. So this is how you do a crop with no resize. You add a null transform, and you just move those things up and down in your filters. Hang on a sec. Oh wait, this one has a button. You can get in there. And now you'll notice that this video is an odd aspect ratio. That's not what I thought. I thought it was 16/9. But if you do this division, 720 divided by 434. Okay, 1.67. That is a standard, I guess, right? That's 1 2/3 or whatever. What is that in fraction? That's 3/3 plus 2/3, 5/3. Whoops. So that's a 5:3 aspect ratio. I don't know what if I've ever seen anything in that aspect ratio, but I guess we're going to see it in a minute. This is done. I'm going to tell you a bit more about some of those things later. But let's just have a look. So the file, as expected, the file size went down, even though we didn't do anything. So we went from 3 kilobits per second down to 2, right? Now, why is that? Why does this one only require 2? Well, you could probably work it out exactly, right? It's because this has got a bigger frame. This one, as you saw before, is this big, okay? Even though this is just 0, right? You still have to supply numbers for these values, for these positions, right? So that this video requires more data throughput, even though a lot of it's zeros, than the other one, which contains exactly the same data. This one is that without the black bars. Okay, so now it's in a state where I can, well, actually this could be uploaded as 480p, because it's 484 high. But there's more. There's probably enough pixel data in here to make this high definition. I don't know about this foggy stuff, but it should be okay. Here it doesn't look very good at all, but later on it seems to clear up a bit. It's not that good, is it? In fact, it's terrible. So it might require some work to get it to sharpen this up somehow. You can use VirtualDub to do that. Those filters, you see. Now that complaint was actually the thing I wanted to get to as a lesson in VirtualDub in general, working with AVI files. Well, here's one lesson. One of the things you can do with VirtualDub, if you can figure out how to install it, is direct stream copy. So you can do edits and things and cut scenes out and whatnot without having to re-encode everything. So that's a great feature. But if you do want to do editing, the two things that you need to know are well, three things really. You might need to adjust frame rate sometimes, but as far as like editing the picture, you use these filters, and I have a big list here. This is an open source project, and people can add more operations that you could do on an image into this list. Like, for instance, let's say I wanted to adjust the colors. Now you can click this preview. If an image comes in, okay, now see, I can move this around and you see it has an effect on the image. All right. Oops. I can make it really over bright, or I can darken it. You can already. Is that the frame that we're on? No. Usually it would have started me on the frame that we're at. Let's go to something like something that's more straight on. Okay, clearly this can be fixed a little bit anyway. But let's just look at the colors as an example again. HSV, hue, saturation, and value. I've never really figured this thing out, what it means, but I'm starting to understand. You got to understand the color circle. Now come on. I think if I just push it, it's not the same frame at all. Which frame am I? 29479. Going backwards. Too far. You'll notice if you use this program that going forwards it's fast and going backwards is slow. You can imagine what the reason for that is. We're almost there. 479. I just want to be able to see in the background the difference. 4, also down. I should have gone with keyframe. Anyway, almost there. Okay. Am I reading that right? 2, 9, 4, 7, 1939. It claims that's where that is. Oh, that's a bug to do with, probably to do with whoever implemented this. Anyway, well, let's get some image. Maybe it's 5, 7, 9. Anyway. Something. Decent image. There we go. Okay, so let's see. Now I think hue is something to do with the redness or something, or what they call temperature. Yeah, it's a green-purple adjust. It looks like. You know, the purple is the what do you call it? The knot. Purple is the knot of green. Knot green equals purple, right? So moving this way gives you more purple, and moving this way gives you more of a green. Saturation, you'd think it would be colors, but it's not. If you ever get a look at one of those picture circle things, saturation moves. It's when you move in the color circle, and I'm talking about something that. Well, I'll get a color circle. Hang on. Alright, here's a color circle. It's actually not a circle, it's a square and a circle. Now this is the way that some people, not including myself, understand color. Color works in this way. There's a reddish kind of world, and there's a greenish kind of world, and there's a bluish kind of world, right? And then this thing moves smoothly through them. And in between are the mixes: yellow, purple, and cyan. Okay. Now, moving this thing around the circle changes the value. The mixture of values of colors in the box. So here is a kind of brownish color, goldish color, and what I'm doing when I'm moving this thing around, only one of these three, H, S, and L, is changing, and it happens to be the H. So this represents hue. Now, clearly 0 is red, and 255 is also red. So, but halfway around 128 is kind of not green exactly. It's black, well, it's in fact cyan. So we went from red to cyan, and cyan is the opposite of red, right? Just as green is the opposite of purple. Now, so depending on now this program's started us up with something called times 100%. No, sorry, hue. It started off at 0 degrees, and according to the circle, 0 is red, right? Now, oops, it doesn't go from 0 to to 100. This is the middle. So going back this way subtracts 180 degrees, and this adds 180 degrees, and you just saw what that does. Cyan, both cyan. This is one way to get to the other end of the circle, and this is another way. One way passes through the blue area, and another way passes through the green area. See what I mean? And if you got good at this, which I'm not, you have an easy time finding the kinds of colors that you want by, like, let's say I know I want some kind of shade of yellow, so I go to where I think it's approximately what I want. Now we're done with the hue bit. If I move, now in the square here, we have, think of this as a two-dimensional thing. So we've fixed one coordinate in our three-dimensional coordinate space, and now we're working on the other two coordinates. If I move this thing up, you'll notice that what's happening is only one number is changing again, and that's this L. It's going to 0. Whoops. I was staring at the number. I'll move it up and down. I can't do both at the same time. When I'm at the top here, L, lightness, is always 0, and we always get black. When L is 255, we always get white. So this here, L, the Y coordinate, goes from white to black, white being 255, black being 0, through a cross section of the color that we've chosen for the hue. And so therefore moving back and forth this way changes the third coordinate, what they call saturation. And saturation basically means how much of this do we want in the color, right? So I've chosen yellow. If I want to have a lot of yellow, I move my thing this way, right? If I want it to be a darker yellow, I go up. A lighter yellow, I go down. Or if I want a little bit of yellow but light, you see what I'm saying, right? This is another way to look at color. Well, the thing that's good about this, I guess, is that this coordinate is going to have the same brightness, I think. As you move around, it shouldn't change its brightness. And I think that's approximately true, see? So wherever this fixes brightness and an amount, like a leaning towards a certain color, which is chosen here, like purple, and you can, if you applied this same rule to all of the pixels in an image, right? That is the same HSL. Then all of whatever the colors that things had, they would retain their relative brightness. So that means that this is a tool which allows you to change all of the pixels in a uniform way. And I really wish I was good at it, and I think I just learned, just speaking it out has helped me a lot in understanding how this thing works. See, like It's the green side, that's the blue side. Okay. I would say this is more in the middle. Red. Maybe it's oversaturated. It probably is. So you could, now saturation doesn't give us the brightness. That's just how much of this color do I want, this relative color do I want. Let's say a little bit less. And now value. What was value? Oh, that's brightness. That's going up and down the box. So maybe here something. You can see it's not so hard to naturalize the color. Now that's what I just did. It would be if I re-encoded the whole video applied to every single frame. So you really, it's not such a, it's not easy to see what you're going to get by just fiddling with it. But there are a lot of other interesting things. Blurring, rotating, resizing, motion blurs. Levels I always find to be useful. This levels thing, okay, another thing I don't completely understand, but it allows you to cut off color. In this video, that's probably essential, because there's all this fogginess, right? It's like something being overexposed. So you can limit the range of brightness. Here it says operate on, this means brightness instead of color. So just these adjustments are for the brightness of the image. Now that's just changed the range. So I've limited the range to stop here. And now I can actually adjust the relative brightness of various pixels by moving this thing around. See, if I go too high, it looks terrible. But if I move it back here, the image is sort of sharpening. Now this here, output levels, I haven't had much luck with, but it's doing the same sort of thing. This is an adjustment for the colors coming from the source and going into the destination, but we can also limit what comes out. Okay, for instance, if I did this, you notice how it got brighter, right? And that's because I've allowed less dark stuff out, I think. That's my understanding. If I move this one, it's going to get dark. See? I'm not allowing very much brightness to go through. So you get, these are sort of the same adjustment, one input, one output, but notably absent is this thing. Well, the reason you can't have one of these is because as far as output is concerned, there's no image there. The image is coming from the input, not from the output, so we can't decide how much, to adjust these pixels. Why? We don't have them. We can just put a bottleneck. Now, that on its own probably increase the quality to some degree. Just doing that, watch. Then we get to see them together. Get them approximately the same size. It's too big. See, it's not really sharper, but it's It's cleaner, right? There's less of that fog around. So now that's that. Well, I won't go on too much longer. The thing that I wanted to point out, think of this as less than 0.01. If you want to do this thing that I want to do, that I do, and that I have done, which is to take like a stub video. You can make I've already made it here. Okay, this is a picture. This is a still. It shouldn't have any audio. I can turn this up and nothing will happen because this Abby has no audio. It's over an hour 10 long. And the reason it's that size is because I used this as a container for the AC3 audio stream. In case you want to apply AC3 audio to this, you can grab it out. You can flip audio from one Abby to another. The image doesn't have any effect. But anyway, I can use this same container for audio files. So if I go in, for instance, I can't play it for you, but I can just show you. I already have a thing set up for. This is direct copy, no encoding or anything. You open a file like this coup here, coup start, and then you say audio from another file, and I can choose this here, and then click that, and it'll save. Well, I don't want 3 minutes or something. Let's say it's about that. Let's say. I can cut off the end. And I can save it as the song. Okay. Now that was the entire. It was done. You probably didn't even see the box come up. Now I have something called the song.avi, which is almost entirely audio. In fact, you could make the video itself so small that it only consumes like less than 1K. If you look at the media info, all right. Okay, well, it's still that because that picture is fairly big. It's taking up 56% of the total data size. But if you just wanted a song in an Avi, like what I did here with the AC3, I should have used a smaller container, and then this would just be purely audio. Now the only problem with that is this is great, and it would be great to be able to do all of them and glue them together, right? And that won't work yet because these all have to be normalized. They have to have exactly the same format, and then you can string them all together, and nothing has to be encoded or anything. Well, these do. These need to be re-encoded, but that can be done without any loss. Again, using VirtualDub. I always stop and restart it because I don't trust it. I have these various presets. This here, all this does is no effect on video and normalizes the audio to 256 at 44 kilohertz. And that's good enough for the ones that I have. Right. Now, if I took my container here, and I should have showed you the other one failing. So I say audio from another file, MP3. I should fix my dialog. This is my dialog. Okay, and was this one, was it? So this is how long is it? Duration. What is duration? Yes, but how long is it? I can't see it. Am I blind or what? Duration. Oh, that's weird. Why doesn't it know the duration? I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm running this stupid thing. These are regular. Oh, this one's got a duration. Okay. Length, it was called. I see. Some of them won't show the length, and you know why. Because these ones I modified. The volume was too low, and I modified them, and for some reason this thing can't figure out the duration. If I ran it in here, this will tell me the duration. It's 248, and that's not the one I want, though. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, I'm not going to use these ones. I've got to make all of them have that same problem. 423. So go to this thing's too long. So 426 is good enough. Now, turns out that if you make a cut on a key where there's a K here, then everything following this frame will get cut off. But if I made a cut here, then that has the same effect as if I cut here. That is, you can only cut on keyframes. Well, sorry, I got that backwards. On the right hand side, it will cut off everything following where you are, but on the left hand side it won't. You have to do it on a keyframe. So in this case, it was at 423. I could do it exactly. See, it's very slow to go backwards. Let's go like this. Let's say that's approximately right. What I'll do is next time I'll go and shorten this. And then, oh yes, did I load the? Doesn't matter. Well, it does matter because it's not going to work if I can press there all over again. I did load it. I want to load this here, right? Turn everything into the same format. It doesn't matter what format, as long as they're all the same. And then audio from another file. Oops. I guess it doesn't matter. Put it in any order. not 41. I'm going to take this and cut off the end. Save that as a 01. Oh dear. Oh, that's right. It's slow because it's re-encoding the audio. But 256K is pretty much it's a high quality, higher than the 192 variable. And these are constant bitrate. Now I'm just going to do one more step. I'm going to make another one, so I have 01, and now I'm going to take this second one, which is 336 long. What? Oh, I said open. I need this, and then audio other file. This one. Oops. What was it? 323? I was choosing frames. Zero, 2. Now, once this is done, I can go to the direct mode, and I can glue them together. Direct stream copy. Okay, close it because of paranoia. So now if I wanted to, I can go to direct stream copy, open up the first file, okay, it will have that image in the song, and then append AVI segment to save. Now everything's direct now, so it's going to be instant. I can call it 0102. Okay, and now they're together. Now I got 2 songs in here, and then you can just keep doing that and get do a whole bunch of songs, and it's very fast. I don't know where I'm inserting this bit, but I mentioned something during the editing of moving the time position back and forth, and I said you can think about why it's slow to move backwards and fast to move forwards. Well, it just suddenly occurred to me. Well, I had an idea as to why, but it just occurred to me, and I know exactly why. not sort of why. And it goes back to that. It goes back to that little horsey. Everything seems to go back to the little horsey. That was a useful project for learning. Remember these GIFs, right? Each image is not one picture in itself, if you recall. What happens is slowly, as it's going from one frame to the next, it's using the data from the last frame to build the next frame by erasing a little bit maybe of the next and adding a little bit more, right? So if you're at frame 3, it's very easy to go to 4, 5, and 6. That's just regular playing. But if suppose you wanted to go one frame backwards, right? Well, the only way to reconstruct the previous frame is to go all the way back to the beginning and reconstruct the image one step at a time, right? Otherwise, you remembering the whole frame. So it's, I mean, clear that's the reason why it's slow moving back. But it also explains why you can't do a cut. Well, actually, I found a trick, a way to do it, but you can't do a left-hand cut, right? Because in order for, if I could, I should put numbers on these things so I could demonstrate it to you. What was that picture? Is it in the directory, or did I add it to the videos? Oh, it's the GIF. I can't look at this in the grid view, but just imagine if you want to start on frame 7 out of 11 or something, right? Well, you can't, because in order to draw frame 7, you need to draw all the frames up to frame 7, right? So you can't put a cut on frame 7. On the other hand, if it's on the next cycle and you want to cut things off, so I want to draw all the way up to frame 12, or 12 or 13 or whatever, no problem. That's what the thing does normally, right? So I can certainly just stop drawing. And so that's why you can cut on the right and you can't cut on the left, and why it's slow to move backwards and fast to move forwards. Unless you're moving from what they call a keyframe to keyframe. A keyframe, in terms of this animator, is the point where you start accumulating images. So this is this video. I'll be putting this in. Here's the thing with the music. The first frame is a keyframe. As this thing moves along, all the images get something. The other one instead. So we're at 0. Now, as I'm moving from one frame to the next, okay, there's not much action here. Okay. Not much action here either. Okay. So what this thing is doing, clearly, is not. I'll put a pause. Why don't I just open this video instead? Where did I put it? I think I put it up here. Okay. This one, right? I can't see this. Okay. Here. What I'm doing right now is skipping from keyframe to keyframe. What I'm going to do is make it smaller. Take a chunk of this. First I'll cut here on the keyframe. Home to select. Move the cursor to the end, press delete. So now I just have from 0 to 2000. Maybe we'll make it smaller. I'm going to jump backwards by keyframe by holding the shift key down and using the arrow. See how it's taking big steps? Those steps are not always the same way, but it's fast. And the reason it's fast is because of the idea of the keyframe, which is when an image is complete, just like frame 0 for the horse, it's a solid image. So in the file itself, at these keyframes, there's an actual recording of that particular image. I don't have to accumulate anything to draw this one. Make it even smaller. Let's go from here. Okay, save that as a tiny paranoia. Run camera. So here's tiny, only 273 frames. Now, if I jump from keyframe to keyframe, you can see that it seems like 145, but that wasn't 100. No, that was less than 100. So there are varying lengths. And I had cut on a keyframe, so this should have a K, even though it doesn't say it. Where I cut was on a keyframe. Now, first, I want to show you. Suppose I want to cut this beginning part off. Okay, let me do it on a keyframe first. I want to cut from 0 to 145, which happens to be a keyframe. I select it, go to the beginning, select, delete, save, call this tiny cut head on key. I know that I was always running to problems when I don't close it. So now you can see that worked, right? I lost, it was 200 something before, and now it's 128, right? And the first jump is from here to here, which is 58 frames. If you recall, that was approximately right. And this should take, the next one should take you to about here, I think. Okay, well there. So then maybe another 50. Oh, this is the one, okay. And then another 20 something or other, and this little bit. Alright. Now let's open up tiny again. Now here's the first keyframe, but let's say I don't want this section, right? And this occurs all the time, and it's always frustrated me until I found out the secret of how to do it. It can be done. Suppose I want to do the same thing here. I select this, go to the beginning, home, delete. So that's 198 frames. Great. Let's save that head, but not on key, off key. Okay. So that's, here it is. Well, you don't even really need to open it to see that it failed, right? The two files are exactly the same size. Off key. Here I am back to the same. In fact, well, it's exactly the same situation. It didn't work, right? Works on. Now, what about the left? The right. Can I cut on the right-hand side, but not on the keyframe? According to theory, like with the horsey, I could go to, let's say, 221. It's not a keyframe. Select, go to the end, select, delete. So, tiny cut tail off key, right? Tail off key is smaller, so it works. And it's going to be 221 exactly. Put tail off key, 221. And I can do that because I know how to draw all of the images up to 200, up to this point. And that's all it is. I know. It is a guess, but I think it's a pretty good guess that the reason why you can't cut is because it's a cumulative image drawing, just as a GIF file works, same idea. And so now that is a completely understood thing. Now the question is, how do you do it? Because I found a way to do it. And I'll leave that as a puzzle for you. Maybe I'll do a little section on using this tool, because it's a good tool. It's not always easy to know what the right thing is to do, but once you figure it out, it's very handy, especially for doing quick things, like I just did there. If I had to re-encode all those things every time I'd made those little changes, well, you wouldn't have noticed, but I would have had to pause and wait a few hours each time. Okay, I'll insert this at the end. Well, we'll see. Alright. So you saw what the result of this was. It's terrible. I gotta work on fixing that. And I'm gonna upload these. Some of these songs are really great. See you.